great gasolines, Standard Red Crown and Standard White Crown. The fuels that power this modern age. On the highways, on the farm, and their kindred aviation fuels in the air. Here is the inside story of these modern gasolines. Hello, folks.
Thor News is for winners, and that's why you're here. So stick around.
We've got a video message.
I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this.
Hit the button, baby. Stay cool. This is a Thor News presentation. Thor News presents
Party Dance Time.
What the shit is going on with oil? Alright, we all know the answer. The market is rigged. There's no real reason for me to read this article, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm also gonna let you in on a little insider information that the 1, 2, or 3 big hands in oil were driving prices to rock bottom to wipe out all the middle and smaller guys. That seems to make sense, because it does seem like the whole world is consolidating down from a number of companies and corporations covering a single market to 1, 2, or 3 corporations controlling that market. Scary time we live in. You know what? You know that. I know that. So here we go. Missing barrels of oil don't explain oil rally, says Morgan Stanley. This article is by Angelina Rascouet, March 21st, 2016. Rock and roll high school. See, baby, it's joy and pain, sunshine and rain. We're all God's children. The IEA estimates around 800,000 barrels a day are unaccounted for. All right, so somebody's losing about 1 million barrels of oil a day, magically. Hey, you know, it's just like me. If I lose 1 million of something daily, we just shrug it off, you know? I'm sure it's some evil genius scientist who's just absent-minded, so he forgets where he's putting. Wait a second. So that's like, after 10 days, that would be 8 million barrels, and after 100 days, that would be 80 million barrels. What the hell do you do with all that lost oil? I would guess it ends up somewhere illegal, like Iran, Syria, that secret Google island in the middle of the world. Maybe even Mars. I don't know, some old cartoon said that Mars gave us the technologies just so we would pull the oil from our own planet. Man, I'm in a shitty mood. Okay, let's keep going. The 800,000 barrels a day of crude production unaccounted for in the International Energy Agency's estimates of oil supply and demand for last year are a poor explanation of the recent rally in prices, according to Morgan Stanley. Oh yeah, here's the deal. Recap. Oil shit the bed, which meant that it hovered around $100 forever, and then it fell all the way down to $29, stayed around the early 30s, and now it's bounced up to about $41, $45. Now, why has it done all this? Well, A, even though supply and demand is kind of dead, there was a glut of supply because due to new fracking techniques, there's a secret I won't tell you, at least not now. We got oil everywhere. So remember when they were like, oh my God, peak oil? Well, it's like the exact opposite of peak oil. And it's my belief that oil should pretty much have always been at $1 a gallon of gasoline, you know? But no, they jacked it up to about $4. They unbalanced the global economy, then caused a giant crash. And now here we are. And everybody's like, what the fuck? How did all this shit happen? And I think we all know. We're still back on our heels and 2 tricks behind. The missing barrels, which result from the difference between IEA's estimate of oil supply and demand, are probably present in stockpiles outside the 34 members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Well, no shit, Sherlock, Morgan Stanley said in a note Monday. The proportion of global inventories in developing countries such as China, which aren't directly monitored by the agency, should be growing, the bank said. Wait a second. So they got like nano chips in your Pepsi, they got nano chips in your cigarettes, they got nano chips in your condoms, they got nano chips in the chemtrails, and you're telling me the super NSAA can't track down where these barrels of oil are going? Right. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean? Know what I mean? All right. Go ahead and give yourself a hand job. That's all we're getting these days. Regulatory capture. It's a bitch. Missing barrels are one of many oil market myths cited by bulls, Morgan Stanley analysts, including Adam Longson, that dude's going long, said in the note. The theory is that oil demand is understated because OECD inventories do not capture the full imbalance. Oh yeah, okay, great. However, just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not really there. What kind of wonky crap is that? Brent crude, the international oil benchmark, has risen about 50% since hitting a 12-year low of 27.10 on January 20th. For Morgan Stanley, the rally is the result of macroeconomic trends, notably the weakening dollar and other events such the potential for production freeze when OPEC and non-OPEC producers meet on April 17th. Yeah, not buying it. In its monthly oil market report, the Paris-based IEA includes a miscellaneous to balance section that lists the barrels its analysts haven't been able to locate after taking account of supply demand and the amount of oil placed into storage. That number was 800,000 barrels a day for 2015. Well within the normal range considering the vagaries of the oil data. It's just me, or does it seem like the vagaries of data control everything these days, especially in economic? Chinese tanks. Holy shit. Part of these missing barrels ended up in Chinese SPR tanks, said Giovanni Stuvanovo, an analyst at UBS Group AG, referring to the nation's strategic petroleum reserves. Tracking only OECD storage data was useful in the past when developed economies, oil demand was larger than emerging markets. But that trend has since reversed, he said. About 77 million barrels of SPR is in the process of being filled in China, with another 93 million barrels of capacity expected to be completed by 2020, according to BMI research. The IEA can't escape errors in data collection. Well, no shit, Morgan says. History shows supply and demand tend to be revised as data improves, with no clear pattern. Both have generally been revised up in recent years. All right, so what do we get here? Bunch of smoke and mirrors and bullshit to deal with. I think we all know they move the markets up when they want to, they move them down when they want to, and the crash is coming the exact minute they want it to happen. All right, did this depress you as much as it did me? Well then, I'm sorry, and I pray you'll forgive me. God bless everyone. I'll keep you posted. Say a prayer for me if you can. These are crappy days.